So we as parents still stuck somewhere or the other, want our child to become independent somewhere, isn't it? Yes, we all are, looking at making our children independent in any way that could be, really possible. And the most important and the most basic thing when we talk about, bringing independence to our children is that they should be able to use the toilet on their own. They should not be wetting the bed during the night or, during the day itself. Okay, even if they get toilet trained, then there is this very difficult thing to make them sit on the, pot and let them have their poo-poo done or the bowel movement. Now, that is something which really is a concern for most of us, and it was a concern for me as well. I started toilet training Ranak at a very young age, at about 2 years 6 months. He was 2 years 6 months, and I gave up making him wear the diapers. Yeah, now that was something which is, I think, very much needed for all our children, because once you remove the diapers, then there is no looking back. Okay, so I don't want to start with diapers first. Let's go to something which is, why our children take a lot of time for, for this toilet training to happen, in their lives. Why it is taking them so much time, why it becomes a challenge for all of us parents, right? It was a challenge for me, believe you me. Ranak, because of the anxiety, he would go every 10 minutes. So when we made his toilet training schedule, every 10 minutes, Ranak used to be going to the toilet. Now, you can imagine the kind of overwhelm. If we miss it, anyways, we will have what we call as a susu accident. That used to happen quite often with Ranak. So this was something I really wanted to, achieve for my son, because I don't know how many pants and underpants I had to send to the school, because he needed so many changes because of the accidents that were happening. So then I started understanding what exactly, works for our children, and why this is happening, why our children are having so many accidents. First thing is that sometimes it is, there are 2-3 things that happen. One is the anxiety, okay? And that if a person is in a fear or remains in constant fear, and that is what I felt about my son, that he is in constant fear of being overwhelmed because of the sensory overload. So he had sound sensitivity. He could not handle so many people in a room. Okay. And that these kind of simple things, which we take for granted, is actually a cause of anxiety for my son. And out of that anxiety, I would see him have accidents quite often. So to understand why this is happening, first point, what I observed in Ranak was anxiety. The second thing can be the sensory. Because he is in fear, he is in constant fear because of the sensory overload, right? Now, this sensory overload can be sound, can be the smell, can be the strange room, which is called bathroom or a toilet. Everything is, different there, right? In the toilet, we are not spending much time. It's a strange place for a child, right? Because we are constantly putting diapers for our children, and hence we are not putting them in the toilet, right? So this becomes then the child, when the child is growing, maybe from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, And this is the time when we want to teach them toilet training. Now, if they have never entered the toilet per se, not for taking bath or, like if we have both the bathroom and the toilet together, not for the per se of taking bath, but for the, for the pee pee and poo poo, then this becomes a place which they might not be liking too much, right? So it's again a sensory sensitivity to this new place that they are going to enter. Another thing that our children, because they are having sensory issues, they can be hypo or hyper, right? Now, within their body itself, what is happening when we are feeling the pressure? Sometimes they don't feel the pressure. It's only when they've had an accident they understand that, it happened. And it can happen for both the things, for the toilet or for the bowel movement. It happens for pee pee, poo poo, both. They are not able to sense the urgency of going to the toilet. Now, Ranak was basically, okay, he overcome all the fears. He knew how to go to the toilet, use the toilet. And he would use the toilet after he's had a small accident. And that small accident would be like 2 drops or 2-3 drops. He will have accident and then he will rush because the urgency he didn't understand. And this happened for many years. I mean, for his body to be completely healed and for him to start, understanding that this was the time, or just 1 minute before he had to go to the toilet, right? And it took us many years. It took us about 8 to 9. He turned 8 to 9. That is the time when he could, start feeling that, okay, this is the time I need to go to toilet. Even after that, during winters also, sometimes, children would be busy. They are engaged somewhere, right? Supposing he's watching his favorite rhyme and it's winter time, and winter time we generally want to go more times, right? And the child is engaged somewhere. Maybe the body gave the signal. It got lost because they are so rigid to get up and go, right? This is what happens with our children. And hence a little bit of accident. It never used to be like a complete accident, but a little bit would happen, and then he would just rush to the toilet and do the needful. So these are the few reasons: sensory sensitivity, toilet never being introduced, and and then the body not giving the proper signals. So they are not, even if the body is giving the signals, our children are not able to recognize those signals, right? Their mind is all over, right? And they are not able to focus. And hence, if the body is giving them some input, they are not able to recognize that. Now, all these reasons why our children are difficult to toilet train, it's happening because of, sometimes it is because of the rigidity. It's also for the anxiety. It's also for the sensory need. Plus, we have not introduced the pot, or, we have not introduced the toilet pretty early on in their lives. So I have seen certain children who are even teenagers and they are not toilet trained. Now that is an overwhelm for all the parents, because, this is the most necessary, important life skill that our children need to learn pretty early on, right? And even if you have become late, so the first step would be to give up on the diapers, right? If the child is in the diaper, right? And once you give up, then it's never looking back, right? So because what happens is that the wetness itself is a reaction they get. So that wetness gives them a feeling that yes, they did something, right? So we need to give that kind of an input to their mind, right? So that is the first input that you give. Now, when the children are, most of the parents would say, ma'am, it is very easy for you to say that, give a diaper and never look back, but my child would not do his poo-poo unless and until the child is in the diaper. Yeah, so I have heard of children who actually like to lie down and do the needful, and I don't think, because the gravity also has its own effect on our bowel movement, right? And we can clear our bowel only when the gravity is working and the posture needs to be correct. And so it's very, very important to do a transition very slowly, step by step. And what can be those steps, especially when we want to get rid of the diaper? What exactly I should follow? It's like, you go to let the child be without the diaper. And if you know that if you have, first you have to prepare the child that, okay, now we are going to take off the diaper. You can talk to the child. No matter whatever is his level of language understanding, right? Because we many times underestimate our children. We can also show them pictures. We can, have a social story. Prepare the child maybe a week before that this is going to go. All right. And once you take it off, many times the parents cannot take it off cold turkey. It has to be like, okay, you get the diaper once you come to the toilet. Okay. So the child is there in the toilet and he gets the diaper so that he can go. And then slowly, now you get the diaper when you sit on the toilet seat, right? Then the next step could be that no diaper anymore. No diaper anymore. You're going to actually feel very good. Just, you're not going to feel dirty. So let's see how clean you're going to feel this time. And every time the transition is happening, there has to be a very strong reinforcement. What do I mean by a strong reinforcement? Every child has something which is most comforting, most needed, most liked by the child. Now, when we are on this operation toilet training, right, you can actually give it a major, task that we'll undertake as parents. Then our whole attention can be on toilet training only per se. I would say this is very, very important, right? This is one of the most important life skill because it reduces a lot of embarrassment for us as parents. It brings dignity to our child. Okay. People around us also start looking at our child with respect, right? And we want them to have that kind of a feeling for our children because our children could be different. They are learning differently, but they are no less, right? And they definitely deserve all the dignity, all the respect that we all deserve, isn't it? So this is very, very important that we bring toilet training as soon as possible. If my child, is not toilet trained, then my first and foremost focus has to be toilet training. Okay? I told you the reasons what it can happen and why this is happening. What can be the internal? What happens with the bowel movement, right? Bowel movement is generally when we have to go number 2 or poo-poo, right? Whatever you call. So it can be because the child, the child might be having constipation. And even though they are not having constipation, because it is a difficult task for them, especially when they grow up, they might be withholding it, right? So they are withholding it within themselves and not going. Again, I said that, they want to go only in diaper. And I told you the small way to fade off the diaper. It might take you a week's time. It might take you 2 weeks. It might take you a month. But don't give up. till the time the child has transitioned from, diaper to no diaper. Because many times the child is, I've seen that children get toilet trained. Okay, so PP is happening, but when it comes to the poo or the number two, they want to do it in the diaper. So then the transition becomes difficult. For me, it was easy because he was pretty young, and from very, very young, I think he was 6 months or 8 months old, I started holding him and putting him on the toilet, that small toilet seat you get for infants or the toddlers. I had started putting Ranak there, and he would do his poo-poo in the toilet seat itself. So I had no issue when it comes to the bowel movement. He would go there. I had problem with the susu accidents that used to happen pretty often. And so while I was talking about the reasons why the bowel movement becomes a major task for the children as well as for the parents, right? Is because of the constipation. It's also because of the child, withholding within themselves. Then it can be the sensory issue because the body has not given them signal, and they've already soiled their pants or they have soiled their diaper before they could actually reach the toilet. So, or the child is having gut, that gut issues. Gut issues can be constipation, diarrhea, gas, all these food intolerances. Okay. Now, so all these things working together makes bowel movement a Herculean task for our children. So it is basically, we are going to form a habit, right? A habit of going to the potty seat and sitting there. Now, it's very essential that you have a lot of things which are pretty interesting for them in the toilet. You should accompany them inside, and for every step they take, every step has to be physical prompt. Okay, and in the beginning, when we are starting, let's start with a physical prompt, full physical prompt, with no demand as such on the child. So if you are not giving any demand, anyways, the child is feeling pretty safe, secure in a place which is not very good for, it's not very, it's a strange place for the child. So just taking, and when we are transitioning our child for the bowel movement, have a consistent routine. Very important. Anna, generally kids would like to go after the meal or in the morning, right? So after the breakfast, after lunch, or after they come back from the school, make them sit on the pot. Yeah. Whether they do or they don't do, it's okay. Or you can start taking when they are soiling that, start taking the data. You'll know the around time because body has a clock, and generally it will be during, it will be during that 1 hour. Like if the child is coming back from school at 3, so maybe 3 to 4, the child is soiling the pant, or the child in the morning is soiling the pant. So you know as parent when the child likes to go. Okay. तो एक कंसिस्टेंट रूटीन के इस टाइम पे हम ट्राई करने वाले, राइट? तो वो जो मैटर ऑफ विद होल्डिंग है, द चाइल्ड इज होल्डिंग द पूप विद इन, और उसकी वजह से भी कॉन्स्टिपेशन हो रही है, वो दैट withholding thing will also go away, because once the child is sitting. Now in the toilet we have to make certain changes. Let the toilet seat be the potty seat that we get for child depends how old the child is, whether the child is able to use the pot as such, or if the child is small, you get a potty seat for the pot also. You get a small potty seat for the toddlers as well. So take that, make it more interesting, keep all the, most reinforcing items within the toilet, right? The moment the child does even one step, the first step, you can have the visual routine for the toilet training as well, where you actually go, you pull down your pant, your underpant, then you sit on the potty seat. If the child is still young, let's have a stool under under their feet, so that their legs are not hanging, or it's a proper posture. So posture is very much important for that, right? And don't let the child sit for long there. That's one thing. So if the child doesn't eat, we can try after half an hour. So you will get to know what is the time. Once you know what is the time they have to go, then we will stick to that time and we will try every day. And we are giving them that input. Also, it is very important that the child should be drinking water throughout the day. Sometimes the susu accidents are happening because of the constipation. If the child is having bowel movement, but you are not completely aware that maybe the child did not clear it completely, right? So it might be that the child is having constipation. And what is happening is the colon is putting pressure on the urinary bladder, and the child is having frequent susu accidents. That also. And because for the bowel movement, we need proper hydration. So it's very important that we keep the child hydrated throughout the day. Okay? And for toilet training, if the child is not toilet trained yet, then every 45 minutes, you can make a alarm. You can have or 30 to 45 minutes, try for a PP. And once the child does, reinforce the child. Feel so excited about, it's like a big achievement, because no matter what the age of child is, once they learn to do it, they learn it for the lifetime. Then the child is independent and you are independent, right? You are also on your own. Your child is, done. This is a life skill my child has achieved. And now I am, now my child can be transitioned into the mainstream school, and I have no issue going in public places also, right? This is so very important for our children to be toilet trained. It's not only, it's a mental stress for us. If it is a stress for us, it is a stress for our children, right? And once you give away diaper, don't bring it back. Why I'm saying this? Because we don't want to mix their mind, right? Sometimes they are, passing the urine and not feeling wet, and sometimes they are feeling. So it's like a mixed signal, and we don't want to confuse their already confused brains, right? So let's bring in a consistency. So the routine that you will follow, you follow it consistently. And then you'll see even the bowel movement becomes quite regular and at a particular time. So for me, I have noticed that Ranak used to come back from school, and first thing he would do is this only, right? And this was in the beginning. Now he's of course, he's 16 years old and he's toilet trained and everything. So I don't even come to know when he has used it. And I had all my flush cards still put there. Flush, clean your hands. So all those things I have anyways, all my toilets, everywhere it is there for Ranak to understand that, okay, after I finish, I need to flush. Then sometimes the children are even scared of flush. The sound is high. They don't know what exactly happened. So that the smallest of the things which we take for granted can be overwhelming thing for our children. So when we are starting with toilet training, it's very important to go full prompt, right? And show them flashcards, show them, and also talk to them. It's very important to talk, keep talking also, but they learn more visually, okay? Because sometimes our complex sentences is overwhelming for our children, right? So, so this was the main thing I wanted to share with all the parents here. If you have any question, if you have any doubt, please ask me right away, and I think I'll be able to answer, because I've really struggled when it comes to toilet training with Ranak, though we gave up diapers, okay, but the susu accidents wouldn't stop. And all of a sudden, and it was something to do with the internal body signaling and Ranak's understanding of taking that cue of the body. Many times our children are in pain. They are not even able to express that also. Same thing. The body is telling them something and they are not able to get that signal and communicate it to us. So it is going to take a while. But consistent support, consistent help is going to make you independent one day and make your child independent of you. So that you can send your child to school and there is no, then you don't have to send loads of clothes along with the child. Like this is what was my scene when he was 5-6 years of age. Yeah. And I started 2.5, still till 5-6, the anxiety levels, the sensory overload, all those things were still going on. And it was much later when I started looking at healing him from within that I started getting, I started seeing the improvement happening when it comes to the bowel movement, when it comes to the susu control. Yeah. So we go on long trips and we don't want, we don't want the child to keep having susu accidents while we are traveling, right? So he started controlling that and we would ask him, you want to go? Okay. Then we would stop the car wherever. So we go on long trips, car trips, and he was able to hold it. And I have this Monica asking me, what can I do? He's putting his hand and taking out his potty. So that means he wants to. So first of all, you can have a small kind of a social story which tells him that this is not something that you should do because this is dirty and it will make you feel sick or have stomachache. Okay. And also because he's trying to touch his potty means he has a sensory issue of touching the texture. So give his hands a lot of exposure to similar texture or even different textures. So give him soft, hard, scrub, sponge, grains, beans, beads. Ask him to play there. Give him a lot of things. Then ask him to play with the dough. Play-Dohs have a similar kind of texture. और नहीं तो अपने साथ किचन में ले जाइए, उसको बोलो चलो आटा गूंथते हैं. Right? Give him that. Give him as much as he wants. And whenever he's trying to touch his... see, if he is using the pot in the toilet, then there is no need for him to go inside and take it out. If it is a small potty seat, then it's time for you to transition him from there to the main pot with the potty seat and with the stool. You even get a small ladder if the child is small. And you get a very nice cushioned potty seats for the children, right? And every time he's not touching, don't leave the child alone. Every time he's not touching, reinforce. Because the more you will give him sensory things in the hand, the better he will start becoming. And then there will be no need for him to actually touch his poop, right? Okay, so this is all, if he's trying to smell something really dirty, give him all kind of smells, right? Ask him to smell the food that you cook. Give him that talc, soap, candles with fragrances. Get that. And when he's trying to smell his poop, this is dirty, this is nice. He'll be able to make things. Give him exposure of smells. यहाँ तक कि you can like उसका अगर कॉलर है तो कॉलर में कुछ परफ्यूम यहाँ पे लगा दिया. Let him get that perfume. It can be lavender oil. Simple, like lavender oil's fragrance here. Chamomile oil, that essential oil. उससे बहुत फर्क पड़ता है. Because I used to do this for Ranak because it also calms the mind. First, it calms the mind. It takes care of the smelling hyposensitivity. That's why he's seeking more, right? और जो भी डर्टी है, जो भी जैसे कुछ सड़ा गला है, वो भी उसको स्मेल कराओ. सारे उसका यही बना दो कि उसको सेंसरी इंटीग्रेट करना सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. और जब बच्चा कुछ स्मेल सीख कर रहा है तो गिव मोर एंड मोर. या आर यू मीनिंग द लैडर वाली पॉटी सीट? Put it in the cupboard, right? And if he's trying to smell, then you be there along with the child. That will really, really help. Because then, before the child does something wrong, you don't say no, you block the child. Right? That's a strategy. Because हमने ज्यादा no नहीं मचानी है अपनी बच्चों की जिंदगी में. बस सिर्फ जब वो करने लगे, उसको strongly, firmly, politely block करना है. बेटा, ऐसे नहीं करते हैं. We will smell something else. Mama has something very interesting for you. Divert. ठीक है? So, जितना आप divert करेंगे और don't, because you are in the training phase, you can't leave your child alone when the child is going for poo-poo, right? So that will really, really help. No problem, Monica ji. No problem. So I hope that answers your question. Anybody else who wants to ask me anything, then I'm glad to help all the parents. Actually, my mission is to help parents, and it's so nice to share और होता ना अपने दुख को थोड़ा बांट लेना अच्छा रहता है. और जिससे मैं गुजर चुकी हूँ, कैसे मैंने ओवरकम किया, उसको अगर थोड़ा शेयर कर लिया जाए तो वो अच्छा ही है, राइट? किसी को हेल्प हो जाए तो वही ठीक है. सो this was what I wanted to tell because I was getting a lot of questions, especially toilet training के लिए. बहुत सारे parents जो मेरे साथ जुड़ते हैं, उनको ये toilet training and potty training में बहुत सारी दिक्कत आ रही है, right? So ये सब सेंसरी अगर आपको अपनी जैसे स्मेल, टच, ये इंटीग्रेट करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. And all this sensory thing, where is it happening from? It is happening from brain. ठीक है? What is the roadmap to reach the brain to heal it? कैसे हम ब्रेन को हील कर सकते हैं? वो होता है हमारे बच्चे का गट. गट को ठीक करेंगे, सेंसरी सेंसिटिविटीज डाउन आने लग जाएंगी अपने आप. मैजिकली आपको लगेगा ये क्या हो गया, राइट? सो ये सब चीजों की बातें, मतलब कैसे गट को ठीक करना है, क्या ठीक तरह के खाने हैं, राइट? कैसे हमने बच्चे को उसके न्यूट्रिशन से उसके ब्रेन तक पहुंचना है, कौन सी चीजें हार्मफुल हैं, कौन सी चीजें जो हमारे लिए तो बिल्कुल सही थी पर हमारे बच्चों के लिए वो डिफिकल्ट हो गई. सो ये सब चीजों के बारे में आई डू अ स्मॉल 14-day प्रोग्राम जिसमें 14 घंटे, 14 days 14 hours वी वर्क टुगेदर. पेरेंट्स के साथ मिलके हम सब ट्रेन करते हैं कैसे ट्रांजिशन करना है, छोटे छोटे स्टेप्स लेने हैं और धीरे धीरे अपने बच्चे को कंसिस्टेंट रहना है अपने बच्चों के साथ. आपने कोई भी गोल ले लिया ना, जब तक वो पूरा ना हो ना, उसको छोड़ना नहीं है. Unless and until that goal has continued for 1 year. इसका मतलब क्या है कि उससे पहले का कोई स्टेप तो नहीं मैं मिस कर रही, बस एक बार पीछे जाके देखना है. क्योंकि उससे पहले वाला जो स्टेप, उसकी जो प्री रिक्विजिट था, जो रिक्वायरमेंट थी, वो अभी बच्चे ने नहीं सीखा. इसीलिए क्या पता मैं 2 स्टेप आगे सिखाने की कोशिश करी थी, वो 2 स्टेप पीछे उसको अभी आता नहीं है. तो ही होता है. अदरवाइज बी कंसिस्टेंट ऑन व्हाट goal you pick up for your child, but toilet training is not something that we can delay any further. No matter what age आपके बच्चे हैं, कोई भी एज में हो, मैं कहती हूँ even the child has become adult. ठीक है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा बुरी सी बुरी बात ये हो सकती है कि एक अडल्ट बच्चा जो है वो भी टॉयलेट ट्रेन नहीं है, और अगर नहीं है तो हम वहां से ही शुरू करेंगे, राइट? लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर बिकॉज दिस is going to make my child, जब तक वो जिंदा है, जब तक हम जिंदा है, वो उसने सीख लिया, राइट? इसलिए मैं अपने आप को कोई टाइम लिमिट नहीं देती व्हेन इट वर्क विद रनक. बिकॉज क्या होता है कि जब हम बोलते हैं ना 2 महीने में ये सीख जाएगा, तो हम अपने ऊपर प्रेशर डाल देते हैं, फिर उसका प्रेशर आ जाता है, बच्चे के ऊपर रिपरकशन हो जाती है. गोल ले लिया, अब उसके ऊपर धीरे धीरे काम करेंगे, हर स्टेप की विक्ट्री को सेलिब्रेट करेंगे और बस नहीं, किसी के साथ ना कंपेयर करना है, बस बच्चे को देखना है कि वो अपनी पैंट तक नीचे नहीं कर रहा था, जिस दिन कर ली वो विक्ट्री है। जिस दिन उसने अंडर पैंट नीचे कर लिया वो विक्ट्री है। और जाके बैठ गया वो पॉटी सीट पे, स्टूल पे चढ़ के, विक्ट्री, राइट? ये सब विक्ट्रीज हैं। सो अंडरस्टैंड दैट एवरी स्टेप वुड बी अ चैलेंज फॉर योर चाइल्ड। जब हम उनके प्रोस्पेक्टिव से देखना स्टार्ट कर देंगे तो हम ना अपने आप को एक टाइम के बंधन में बांध लेंगे और ना ही किसी और के साथ कंपेयर करके अपने ऊपर अननेसेसरी का प्रेशर नहीं डालेंगे। ठीक है?